Good evening. Today is Tuesday, March 4, 2025. Update for Wednesday the 5th. All right, let's go. Well, as far as new setups, no setups again tonight. Just not a whole lot jumping out of me. It's something that we need to do. Now, on a bounce, unless it's the mother of all bounces, we're probably going to put on some more shorts for now, at least. And speaking of shorts, had an okay day at CCL, finally breaking down. Well, it's only been a few days, but it seems like forever sometimes on a short side when you wait for something to crack. Anyway, lower your stop there. I did play options, and I was able to take some partial profits on that today, and I'll be happy to walk you through that either in Facebook or in the weekend charts for next time. And sometimes on these shorts, it's a little easier to use put options. I know that opens up another can of worms, but it's sometimes easier, less margin, etc. But it goes both ways. I lost money last week on some, so and I'll explain that too in the weekend charts. Anyway, there's CCL, gapping lower, selling off fairly hard. Off its worst level, still down fairly hard. Nonetheless, keep an eye out for a potential IPT on that one. A few shorts still setting up in here, or still set up, I should say, in here. Nothing I feel like I have to go after right away. This one does have a little support below, so be careful with that one, obviously. But just want to show you what I'm seeing tonight. Here's a Chinese stock, kind of crazy, 100 and something on the HV, deep pullback. It looks decent, but it's only one stock out of not that many, and Chinese and everything. I feel like let's just pass on this for now. Let the market shake out a little bit. KC also caught my eye again. It does have a few gaps in it against the trend though, but it tends to be gappy, and this is probably likely a foreign stock when you see gaps like this. Anyway, let's take a look at the overall market, and then let's drill down a little bit into today's action. So the P's are all over the place. Let's take a look at spiders real quick. This is a 30-minute chart. You can see we had a pretty sizable gap lower, sold off a little bit, found its low, began to rally nicely in here, but unfortunately, late in the day, it sold off again fairly hard. Getting back to cash, or getting to cash, I should say, you can see the same sort of action happening there too, obviously. Gap lower, a bit of a rally, and then a bit of a sell-off. Bow tie proper order to the downside here. Ugly day, down 1.25%. It's not the end of the world just yet. Longer term, things still look okay. But the Qs and the Ps could have a TFM 10% sell signal fairly soon. Yet here. For now, though, so far the uptrends remain intact. Longer term, shorter term, though, not looking so hot, especially with those bow ties flipping back over to downtrend, proper order. NASDAQ, same sort of all over the place type of action today. Closed above its open, but that's not enough to get too excited about. And it did actually, a little bit strong on a relative strength basis in the Ps, only down 1/3%, but still down, obviously. Nonetheless, Rusty, same as it ever was, it had down 1% and change. So far, its implosion continues there. As I've been saying, quite a bit. A lot of areas that recently took off came all the way back in. In some areas, not only after bumping up against early highs, went down to the bottom of the range, but actually took it out. That's an example of that. That's robots. Take a look at cyber security. You can see it broke out recently, came all the way back in to its breakout levels. Internet's one of those areas that did make all-time highs, came all the way back in, and took out its recent lows, beginning to break down from that range a little bit. Gold commodity, nice little day there. Somebody asked me in the group if this is, I think it was John Z, this is a witch hat. No, not exactly. You'd want to see this type of action within a downtrend. So witch hat's kind of like this. You get a rally back up like that, and then let's see if I can draw it on the fly here. Something like this, where you have like a pivot point here, and it would look like an upside down witch hat. I mostly trade this pattern on the short side. If we get into an extended bear market, that's going to be one of my favorite patterns to trade. Broker dealer recently tried to break out. Boy, did it get creamed today, down 3 and almost 0.5%. Software in those areas that stalled short of its prior highs, didn't even make it to prior highs before selling off fairly hard to take out the bottom of its range. Medical devices, one of the areas that's sort of been hanging in there. Now it too is beginning to lose some steam as of late. Defense, in other words, areas not looking fantastic, down toward the bottom of its range, or somewhat toward the bottom of its range. Wide loose and mostly sideways. Transport, you can see breaking down below these multi-month lows, so that's looking fairly ugly. Jets continue to break down in here, bow tied to the downside there recently. Banks not looking so good either. You can see they rallied up, stalled short of their prior highs, rolled right back over. Mags off their worst levels, but still down a little today, about 0.5%. Bow tie proper order there too. So pay attention to bow tie proper order as you go through a lot of these sectors. And some of the sectors that had been improving, such as foods, not looking so hot in here, are certainly beginning to stall out a little bit. So this PBJ, foods overall basis, the MG groups have been looking a little bit better than that ETF, but you can see it stalled out a little bit today. Major drugs still look okay. Outside day down there, but so far they're looking decent. Maybe we'll see some setups here fairly soon. There's another robotics you can see taking out the bottom of its range. Semiconductors, pro brand new lows, did manage to close off the worst levels and slightly in the plus column, but I wouldn't consider that a victory just yet unless we can get through all this overhead supply. So in general, I think the bottom line is still fairly ugly out there. Let's take a look at one more area. Financials, you can see right at all-time highs just yesterday, but now coming in hard like a lot of other areas. So anyway, still fairly ugly out there. Still super mixed, but most of their sectors are beginning to, in general, worsen. So let's sit tight. Let's see where this bounce takes us, when and if it occurs. One thing to watch would be the VIX. If we get stretched again here or much more here, we could be in for a reversal. But so far, we do remain stretched on the VIX. We saw a minor reversal off of that stretched VIX today. But you can see still it's actually 42% now. So it was 37% earlier. And we actually closed 42% away from the moving average. So we'll likely see some reversion to the mean in both the VIX and the market bouncing fairly soon. But that in and of itself, other than a day trade, is not enough to get excited about. Everybody have a great night. If you have any questions, you know the routine. Thank you so much.